Nice of the business to invite us over for a picnic, eh? I hope she made lots of Look! It's from Swap! We gotta find the princess. And you gotta help us.
So this is a pasta I was suggested a long ass time ago. I'm not even sure by who at this point, if I'm being honest. The oldest comment I have suggesting it was posted well after the list of suggested pastas I posted on my Twitter back in 2016. For all I know, it could have been suggested in a comment that totally disappeared, or even back on X. So not only is this a pasta that fell into my lap through totally extraordinary circumstances, it almost slipped through my fingers. Back in August, the Troll Pasta Wiki was completely shut down due to concerns of bullying and other bullshit, and with it went down thousands of creepypastas. Thankfully, some are popular enough that they've been archived elsewhere, but a lot of them seem to be totally lost now. Today's story almost met the same fate. I got lucky and managed to find it on a completely different wiki, although Retsupre also did a reading of it back in 2013. Hopefully, me bringing it to the attention of everyone here will spur some new life into it and increase how well it's archived. I see this as kind of the antithesis to Blood Whistle from last episode, despite them having the similarities of both being Mario creepypastas. So let's not fuck around anymore and dive right into Ihsoy.
Let's go!
So right out of the gate, the main character, Matthew, reminds me a lot of Tom from Sonic.exe in that he's chock full of useless information based around his favorite video game franchise. This time though, it's Mario instead of Sonic, so I can feel at least a little better about rooting for this guy considering he's on the winning team, so to speak. The beginning of the story is mostly anecdotes about this guy just playing Mario games. A grand total of one sentence is spent saying that what's going to happen is going to be spooky. It's a good thing it's there, otherwise we may honestly forget that this is supposed to be a scary story about an Ihsoy, whatever that is, and not some nerd's blog. There's a sense of childlike innocence this character exudes throughout the entire story, and it's honestly adorable and hilarious to read. The story reads exactly like the ramblings of an actual kid trying to tell you a story about a video game. It's amazing. The illusion for that in Sonic.exe is kind of broken, knowing that the person writing the story is actually a grown adult who is also a degenerate furry, and Blood Whistle never tried with that, having its protagonist be a pretentious college student majoring in English, I can only assume. But Ihsoy's protagonist kept me smiling the entire way through. His commentary on every situation just constantly makes me laugh in ways that's difficult to describe. Unlike Blood Whistle, it makes you want to keep reading because it's just fucking funny. Before I knew it, I was halfway through the story and it felt like no time at all had passed. I was having such a great time. For something as terrible as this, he's honestly the perfect protagonist to take you through the journey. He's not annoying like Bradley from Blood Whistle or Tom from Sonic.exe. He's a solid second place to Zachary from Godzilla NES as far as video game pasta protagonists we've covered go. Now let me be clear, objectively this is not a well-written character. He's honestly pretty stupid and behaves illogically throughout the story, but it's so damn fun to read that it doesn't really matter. I said earlier that this story was sort of the antithesis to Blood Whistle, and this is a good part of why.
Let's go!
So everything supposedly scary that happens in this story is really repetitive. Basically, there's a demon possessing this guy's cartridge of New Super Mario Bros. 2, and it will go into certain characters when it, I guess, kills or disables them. It's not especially clear. Once a demonic force possesses the character in question, they become frantic and evil, attempting to kill the other Mario characters present and often succeeding in doing so. The hilarious part of all of this is that every time the possessed character actually succeeds in killing someone, Matthew will just cover his eyes like a kid watching a scary movie. The one time the game manages to force him to watch it, he actually abstains from describing the events to us because they're disturbing and disgusting. This kid is so pure. Other pasta authors are far too eager to just have paragraph after paragraph of horrible mutilations of kids and babies and dogs and shit. But this sweet kid won't dare assail us with the horrid imagery of these fictional video game characters engaging in acts of violence. This story is so bad, but this is a shocking breath of fresh air. Another hilarious thing is that Matthew insists on calling each character their name, but spelt backwards once they're possessed, as they are a twisted backwards version of themselves. Now for some, this kind of works, although it's awkward to pronounce. There's the titular Ihsoy, Oirem, Rezwab, Iguil, but the absolute best one is, I'm trying, Hikap Seknerp. Just seeing this and imagining trying to pronounce it out loud every single time it showed up just made me laugh every single time. This alone almost convinced me that this pasta may have been written as a joke. The absolute kicker to all of this is that Yoshi is almost never possessed by the demonic force. He's possessed maybe twice in the whole story and does almost nothing. This would be like taking JoJo Part 5 and naming it Fugo's Bizarre Adventure. There's a sort of hyper-realistic bloody Yoshi that appears as the icon for the game and save file, but it's like halfway through the story the author forgot they were writing a story called Ihsoy and started writing about, well, let's just talk about the story. Our story begins like most horror stories do, talking about Super Mario. And again, it's very reminiscent of the beginning of Sonic.exe. This doesn't last long, only a few short paragraphs though. Our main character is just talking about his love of the Mario series and Nintendo in a way that sounds like a borderline advertisement. All that does is give me flashbacks to Spone Cry 2. What he's really excited about is the new Super Mario Bros. 2 game coming out. What? Side note, this is written in a future perspective, in which it is supposedly being written 9 years after the events occurred, which obviously isn't true since it's still October 2012 as I'm writing this. Wow. Not only is that a hell of a run-on sentence, that is the best disclaimer that disclaims your pasta is a work of fiction that I've seen since Cupcakes. And how unnecessary a gap is that? What, 9 years? Jesus, dude, it's only been 6 years since this was written at the time of this recording. Oh god. That means we only have 2 years before the Ihsoy curse is upon us. We have to get everyone to the underground bunkers quickly! Anyways, he's really excited about the game's release and gets it as soon as possible by seeing if anyone had returned it to GameStop so we can get it $1 cheaper. I thought I was stingy, but okay. I like how he mentions the cashier didn't freak out and insist he take it for free. It's a nice time capsule to show that even in 2012, some cliches were getting out of hand pretty badly. Also, he gives the cashier a $3 tip even though he came to GameStop in order to save $1. Do GameStop cashiers even take tips? I don't think they do. So he boots up the game and the icon is of Yoshi but with hyper-realistic blood eyes or whatever and blood on his face. Already our hero is scared shitless and just closes the game, and part of me wishes the story would just end here because that would be hilarious. But it keeps going and it's still hilarious, so that's fine. We go through the whole he thinks it might have been a glitch thing, which I find funny considering how quick he was to subvert the terrified salesman cliche earlier, and continues to find one of the save files completed to 100% with millions of coins. Throughout the story, he mentions watching lots of YouTube videos about the game, which confuses me because it's only a few hours old, and I wonder why he'd want to spoil it for himself. The completed file has the evil Yoshi picture on it, and he selects it, unknowingly thrusting himself into a world of demonic evils.
Let's go!
So he goes into the game and the map looks like the map from a different Mario game, which I guess doesn't bother him for some reason. I'd be pretty upset if my new game was just an old one repackaged. I tipped the guy $3 for this? But apparently the game is fine, except the question mark blocks are written in blood. And whenever a Koopa or Goomba is killed, it leaves a blood stain. He beats the level with 666 coins and 333 seconds left. By the way, 2 divided into 666 is 333. I love this character so much. Then Ben shows up and tells him he shouldn't have done that. I'm joking because even this garbage isn't stooping to the same low that Blood Whistle did by bringing Ben up. It's just a normal demonic foreboding message. He goes back through the first level to get a star coin he missed, but now it's an ocean of blood. It's here he finally encounters the eponymous Ihsoy, as a picture of it appears on the screen, while he has the 3D on his 3DS, giving him a big ol' spook. I'd used to be a huge fan of Yoshi, but starting then, I wasn't quite so much anymore. Please never change, Matthew. Ihsoy is now in Mario's place, seeming to have eaten him, which is confirmed when Matthew notes that he has lost a life. Now it seems that Mario is the possessed one, now known as Oiram. Matthew concludes that the demonic force inside the game must pass from one person to another, and that Yoshi would be back to normal now. I don't know how he knows Yoshi will be fine, especially considering later events in the story when multiple characters are possessed at once. Oiram starts to move himself towards the flagpole, and meets up with Princess Peach, who he rips apart bit by bit. I looked away for roughly 2 minutes here, so there are no details here, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to see them anyways. Smart man. Then Oiram vanishes, and what's left is Hiccups. In the next level, Mario's back to normal, but Hiccups gives chase at lightning speeds before finally catching him, like Sonic with Tails and Sonic.exe. Oiram chases Peach out of the level, and she hops on Yoshi to escape. Matthew points out that he often considered just tossing the game out, but decided against it because I knew I needed to finish the game if I wasn't going to have nightmares for a week until I committed suicide. Mwah! Beautiful! The antithesis to Blood Whistle. I could honestly wrap it up here, but it keeps going and all of it is great from here on out.
Let's go!
So Yoshi and Peach escape the level, going down the flagpole which now bears the symbol of the demon tormenting them. What does the symbol look like? I don't know. Author didn't describe it. Moving on. But before they can leave, Oiram comes to attack them and turns them into their demonic forms. So I guess he has to attack them both at the same time to transform them both? It's all unclear. After this, the game is pretty normal aside from text boxes saying that evil demons are coming after them. The text box didn't actually call them Ihsoy and Hiccups, but it did say something along the lines of them coming after Mario. Thanks for the clarification. So he goes to a cheese bridge covered in bloodstains that get progressively bigger until all of the cheese is blood. Ow, that hurts my throat. He crosses the bridge to find that the demonic Yoshi and Peach are ripping apart none other than Luigi. Luigi, no, not again. So they kill Luigi and he comes back as a demon, now Egil. But why don't either of them disappear? Did they only use like half of their demon energy each? It's all unclear. The three of them attack Mario and start to rip him apart as well. But then Bowser appears, and Matthew's commentary here is simply sublime. Apparently, Bowser had heard about what was going on, and decided no one was allowed to defeat Mario, like Bowser did anyways, except for him. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Even though the depictions of characters getting ripped apart are repetitive and dull, they're brief, and this commentary keeps you going from one to the next perfectly. It is amazing that even now, as Bowser is here to stop evil demons from destroying all of the protagonists, he still finds the time to give Bowser shit for always losing to Mario. Bowser then helps Mario, who exited the level and managed to skip a few. He goes through the level, at one point reaching an area where he walks straight for 10 minutes. Again, we're getting into Sonic.exe territory, before he encounters Egil, ripping out Bowser's insides. He, of course, covers his eyes. And once the demonic Bowser, Reswob, appears, everything clicks together for Matthew, and it all starts to make sense.
It's a good time.
He realizes that Reswob bears a striking resemblance to Reznor. And at this point in the story, I was so fucking confused because I honestly thought he was talking about Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails. He does have a history in video games after all, having composed the music for Quake, but no, there's a Mario enemy named Reznor who apparently made a comeback appearance in New Super Mario Bros. 2. Though this character is apparently named after Trent Reznor, so I guess I was half right? Matthew concludes that it must be Reznor's return to the Mario series that is causing all of the demonic happenings, and goes on to confront him, preparing for the worst. All I can say to this is fucking what? Bowser kind of resembles this enemy once he's been demonified, so that's it? It has to be Reznor? At this point, the story starts to become Godzilla NES. Reznor speaks to Matthew, calling him by name, and Matthew speaks back. The two share some top-tier banter, let me tell you. How do you know my name? And what makes you think you have the authority or the ability to end my life?
How do I know your name, you ask? The answer to that is simple. You've muttered your name in your sleep many times, Matthew.
Jeez, Trent, perving on kids while they're sleeping?
It doesn't matter if I have the authority to kill you, Matthew, and I don't have to have the ability to kill my enemy. I only have to have a weak enemy.
What? Yeah, and it's too bad you're about to get owned. Once and for all. A+. Gold star. All of the awards. Take my money too. All of it.
Not this soon!
Then there's a boss fight. A high-stakes tactical boss fight the likes of which I have not seen since Godzilla NES. And much like in Godzilla NES, just as it seems all hope is lost and our hero is on the ropes, the power of friendship comes in to save the day. Cheering Mario on, and now freed of their demonic possession, are Peach and Yoshi, who rush in to join the fight and finally own Reznor, once and for all. With that, the demons possessing Luigi and Bowser fade away, and Reznor is killed.
This isn't the end,
Reznor whispered as he faded away. The level ended and I said, yes it is. Real zinger, right as he's going out. And with that, the game continued as normal. Yoshi was never seen in the game again. Years later, Matthew looks through his things to find something to sell for extra money. Guess he really shouldn't have tipped that cashier the $3, huh? He comes across his old New Super Mario Bros. 2 cartridge and decides to go through it for old time's sake. He tries to get the star coin he missed in level 1, but it breaks his 3DS and he decides to just sell the cartridge. It is exactly like Godzilla NES. Which story came first? Did Cosby Daft rip off Ihsoy? God, I hope he didn't. But that is the end of Ihsoy. And what a ride it was. Well, we made it out on the other side alive. Or at least I did anyway. I had no idea what to expect going into this one. I thought it would be dull and samey like so many other pastas, but it has this charm to it like nothing I've seen. It has this bizarre sense of innocence that you just don't see in creepypastas. And all the way, it's just an absolute joy to read because, objectively, this is fucking terrible. It's really dumb, and honestly it is samey, but the presentation sells it for me. It even ends in a boss fight with Trent Reznor. What more do you want? I mean, okay, it's not as good as the boss fight with John Madden and the true ending to Godzilla NES, but still. It really surprised me how much I enjoyed this. Blood Whistle was a story I was by no means looking forward to reviewing, because I felt like giving it any analysis would be too good for it. With this story though, it's something I can actively encourage people to read just for what a joyride it is. It's exactly what a bad creepypasta should strive to be. It's not too long, it's dumb, it's full of cliches, but it's funny as hell and a blast to read. Add some childlike wonder and innocence, and I think it's something that we're not going to see anything like ever again. So thank you, Nebulous Force, who first recommended this story to me. Thank you for revitalizing my hope in video game pastas. This has been Kitscan on I'll see you in the next review.
the Mario! Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario. Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now, just like that.